Hello out there, shopkeepers and do-it-yourselfers. Today we're working on a 2019 Chevy 3500 Duramax 6.6 diesel, and we're going to replace the serpentine belt tensioner because the pulley went bad, and the bearing, actually the pulley, there's what's left of the pulley. It's plastic. That's a pulley out of one of the idler pulleys, or a bearing out of one of the idler pulleys. This is about all that's left of the bearing from the tensioner pulley. It's smoking pretty good. Some of these you can get just the pulley for the tensioner. If the bearing spinning on there didn't destroy this housing, you can get a new pulley to put on there. But this application, nobody showed it, and I tried to match it up because these pulleys, the bearings are almost all identical. This is an original pulley out of one of the idler pulleys that I took off. I had a video made and I bumped my camera and ended the video, and I don't have editing, so I can't go back in and add to it. So anyway, to get this off, to get to it, just take your air filter housing, your clean air inlet. It's clean because it's already gone through the filter. There's two 8mm head screws at the top that go in right here. Take those loose and pull it back this way toward the driver's side of the truck and pull upward so it releases off of those three tabs. 1, 2, 3. They set down in them holes right there. Pull it up out of there. Release your, I don't know where my connector is. Here it is. No, it ain't. I don't know where it went to. Intake air temperature sensor, your cold air intake temperature sensor. Where's my flashlight? I think that is it. No, it ain't. Oh, there it is, right there. That connector goes on right there. And then take that clamp loose, and that assembly will pull up out of the way. And that's all you need to take off to get to the tensioner, which is right there, that piece right there. Get my pointer out. That right there. And the pulley is over here on this end, down here. You got a 15mm head bolt right there. Take that bolt loose, spin it out 3 or 4 turns. You might have to kind of reach in behind there like this and pry out to get that tensioner assembly to break loose the calcium bonding that it got stuck on there. But I left the bolt in it, pry it loose so it didn't fall down in there and have to crawl on it to get it. But it's got an oval lug and a round lug that indexes this, so it goes on the engine like that. And then to loosen it, to loosen the belt, put your 1/2-inch pry bar or breaker bar or ratchet on there and turn the ratchet that way so you're pushing the tensioner down that way. That's how you loosen it. See that lug? There's a track right there, so this will, let's see if I can get that to hold still. This is fastened securely to the engine, and when you put your ratchet in that lug, you push it that way, this lug will sweep through that little channel, so it will move to that point. But anyway, since you cannot get a new pulley for this, if you could, I would have, but I couldn't get one. Nobody had it. Not it just is not available. But so I bought a new tensioner, and the GM part number. This actually come from O'Reilly, but there's your part number for the tensioner. I think that was $65, maybe $70, and a new belt, K6 1195. That's the part number. And while I had it apart, since it's got 200,000 miles on it, I went ahead and took the two idler pulleys, that one there and that one right there, and they look very similar to this one here, but this is not the one. And I pressed the bearing out. This is obviously not the right one, and that's too big. But these are the bearings. I get bearings for these, and this bearing right here fits, here's the part number, multiple applications. The only difference between this bearing and that bearing is this one's actually a tad bit wider than the original that came out of the idler pulley on the truck. Well, I don't know what I've done with the old bearing, but anyway, when you're pressing them out, it doesn't matter how you get the original out, but how you put the original in does make a difference. You want to use something that will fit in the hole and not damage the pulley, scar the pulley, but you want one that's going to fit. It's going to be the largest possible size that you can get that will fit and press only on the outer race, because you don't want to press, you don't want to put any pressure on that seal or on that inner race. If it's a completely flat disc that you're going to use, well, that's okay, because I think that is no taller, the inner race is no taller than the outer race, so a flat disc would be okay, but I wouldn't want to push in the center because it will bell or concave your press disc and put pressure on that inner race, and you don't want to do that. But when you put these in, some of them have a bottom where the stamped steel pulley rolls inward like that, and your bearing is going to come up to it like that. But most of them don't. They just have, see, that one's just a, it's a termination there. No bottoming stop. So when you put it in, just make sure that your edge doesn't go beyond flush, because when you put your bolt in there, let's see, when you put your bolt in, usually you'll have a protective collar right there. You don't want it rubbing on the pulley. You want that just a tad bit of clearance in there. So due to mileage, I replaced the bearings in both idler pulleys and replaced the tensioner assembly with a new tensioner pulley, because I couldn't get just a pulley, and you can't put a slick back pulley on it because it'll probably slip off. This is a plastic grooved pulley, and that's what you really need to put on there. So when you get it on there, your belt goes around the crankshaft, up over the water pump, down under the power steering pump, up over the air conditioner, and comes down underneath the top idler pulley, above the water pump, then goes up to the alternator and goes down we'll call it below the next idler pulley, and then goes up over the tensioner pulley and then back down to the crankshaft. So over the crankshaft, or around the crankshaft, left, and then up over the top of the water pump. That's been the water pump. And then it goes over here to your power steering pump. Power steering pump over your air conditioner. And then it goes down to the middle or the bottom idler pulley, and up over the alternator, and down under the bottom tensioner, idler rather, and then across over your tensioner pulley, and then back over to the crankshaft. And when you're tightening it, I found that to get the belt on there and keep it off of your power steering pump. Put it on everything else, but keep it off your power steering pump, and put your ratchet on like this on the tensioner. And I used a cheater pipe and pulled up, got the tensioner pulled up, and then rolled it down onto the power steering pulley. Made sure it got all of the grooves where the belt is completely seated on the pulleys. Then, while I have it apart, why not just go ahead and take out and check the manifold air pressure sensor and check it for carbon. And it's pretty dirty. So I just left it connected, just took the 10mm bolt out. So I'm going to take some brake cleaner and spray that dude off. Make sure to get all any crusties up out of there. And you got an O-ring there, make sure it doesn't tear on you. Then put it back in. Of course, get out your 3/4 inch breaker bar to tighten this bolt back up. No, don't do that. Just like a 1/4 inch, I guess that'd be like a 7mm bolt. It ain't very big. Takes a 10mm driver, socket, or wrench to pull it out. But I clean that about every time I take a notion, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Anyway, that's good enough, and we'll kind of spray and clean our mess up. But that's all you have to do to replace that tensioner. And if you know of a part number where you can get a part to replace that pulley, just the pulley. I mean, the tensioner is a mechanical part, but you can see that that it's not. It's got probably a plastic bushing in there. It's not wore out because it's not running crooked. There is a big heavy spring in there, but it's still functional, and I hate to throw them away. I'll put it over there in my spare tensioner pulley and parts bin, and probably maybe I can save somebody some money with that. I don't know how, but since I can't just get a pulley. But anyway, we'll do the right thing and take an air hose and blow out them bugs. And the air filter is pretty clean, so I'm not going to replace it just yet. We'll put the air horn back on. Be sure and tighten that clamp. And that's all you have to do that, fellas. Like I say, I'm going to keep the belt. We'll tie it up, put it in the sleeve, put it over there on top of the fuse box, keep it for a spare for on the road if we was to have a problem sometime or another. I've had that happen, and a spare belt comes in real handy. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Share, like, and subscribe. Comment if you will.